and KISS is timeless and ageless, and should be.
And let's face it, there aren't too many bands out there that have been able to consistently do sellout tours. Rolling Stones, maybe, Aerosmith, Motley Crue. Some of your contemporaries are still out there doing this stuff. But the super band concept, is that something under the new economic model that you can see happening for bands in the future? Will we see big bands like that again?
More than ever, there is a need for those super groups, and that's why people keep gravitating back to them. When you see a band that's been around, you know what you're going to get. When you go to see KISS, there's a guarantee that you're going to get your money's worth. You're seeing a band that has built its craft over 35 years. When we first started out, you started as the opening act. A tour or two later, you became the second act. By the time you headlined, you damn well knew how to headline. Nowadays, the downfall of a lot of bands is that they have a hit album and aren't prepared to go play an arena, and shouldn't be. It takes time to learn that craft. So you may buy an album by a new act. The chances of you spending hard-earned money to go see them versus going to see something that's tried and true, I'm betting on the tried and true band, and that's why people come to see us.
I want to hear everybody here. I want to hear you say,
And you've been able to put out music and consistently still be at the top of the Billboard charts. But when you look at the top 10 consistently now over the past year or so, a lot of it is dance music. And dance music is also starting to impact the sound of some of these other genres, including rock and roll, R&B and soul music. What is it going to take to keep rock and roll alive?
Rock and roll is alive and very healthy. Whether or not it's found on the charts in the numbers that it once was, we certainly are not suffering at all. Interestingly, sometimes people talk about the 70s being like our big years, and it's laughable. Those years are eclipsed by multitudes, by the business we do now. In the last 10 years, we've been on the cover of Forbes. So it has transcended being rock music, but nonetheless, whether you look at a U2 or Stones or McCartney, rock and roll is alive and well. I don't know that there's room at the top quite the way there once was. And I think that a lot of the dance music is expendable, quite honestly, because it's interchangeable. You can virtually take any one of those tracks and take one of 10 singers and put it on, and it doesn't really change it. So is it successful? Yeah. Is it serving a purpose? Absolutely. Will it stand the test of time? The genre might, but I don't think that necessarily most of those artists will.
Does it bother you that most of the artists are not playing instruments?
I'm bothered by very little at this point in my life, you know. I find it troublesome that when people go to see an act live, they're not seeing something live. They're seeing it live, I should correct it, they're not hearing it live. Is that person up there dancing around? Absolutely. Are they singing? Not a chance. Is the band playing? Hardly. You could virtually have the band walk off stage, have the singer walk off stage, and just keep that music playing. So that's bothersome to me only because I think people deserve more. People deserve more than just a show. They deserve passion. They deserve real sweat. They deserve commitment. And that's the kind of music I grew up listening to. So I think that the people miss out. They may enjoy it, but there's a lot more to be had.
You mentioned being on the cover of Forbes. You and your partner, Gene, have really kind of taken ownership of this ownership concept. Not necessarily always the mythology of a rock person to think about business in the way that you have done it, but you've been out front in terms of the vision for KISS and crafting the business strategy of KISS.
And proudly so.
And why is that?
Because I think that the caricature of a rock musician or a rock star is folly. It may appeal to the critic or the journalist because they get to live vicariously by seeing somebody living dangerously or stupidly. But it's usually things that they would never do themselves. I think it's sad, and I would rather further the notion that music and business go hand in hand, because if they don't, somebody else will be making your money for you. So I don't think that it negates or takes away from the commitment or love that I have for music. The fact that people want merchandise, and the fact that we're the most merchandised band in history, I take a lot of pride in that. When other bands might have a problem with it, quite honestly, at the end of the day, it's because they're jealous. They do well to figure out what makes Kiss so appealing. The fact that they want a T-shirt with me on it versus some guy who looks like the boy next door, you know, maybe you need to glam up a bit, you know, do something that's interesting, and then you should reap the rewards.
It really reminds me of Kurt Cobain.